Here we are exactly 10 months later since the release of Dying Light 2. Almost a month ago, Bloody Ties came out, as well as a new big update that overhauled current systems finally made a debut. Additionally, modders have just been going haywire with Dying Light 2 as well, adding in mods to change the core experience, making it more horrifying and overall a more immersive experience. They, of course, never miss an opportunity to add in the lead game designer once again. They do so you can feel even closer to him now. Another thing to mention too is that DLC 2 leaks are finally making its way around. Our favorite data miner, Bub, and many others were able to discover new locations, new sunken cities, trap-heavy caves that you can crawl into and explore, villages, bungalows, a potential drivable boat, all at a new location called Bellrive. It is known that this DLC is going to have two different endings. New groups called the Settlers and the Leapers are coming. There will be a heavy focus on underwater exploration. The underwater section will have you run into various hazards, such as naval mines, new infected. One in particular is called the Stalker, which was actually leaked a little bit ago. On top of this, you will also run into sunlight immune virals and volatiles. I just my pants. And that's about it right now regarding DLC 2. So, if you love water, the hidden depths and the spooky horrors of caves, this is going to be really exciting for you. One thing I'm really pushing for with this next DLC is I really want them to focus on infected. I honestly have been sick and don't simply care for the human problems and conflicts going on in this world right now.
Check it out. We relax.
No, Brian, you keep that thing away from me!
Bloody Ties, unfortunately, was primarily focused on humans and their arena. When it came to that, I honestly just wish they focused more on the infected. Dying Light has some really juicy, rich lore that they sadly aren't taking advantage of. And instead of utilizing what they have, they're opting in for generic storyline.
Man, you're really scared of this thing, huh?
But also, one really funny thing when it comes to Bloody Ties, they actually added in Elyseum.
Yes! Come on!
Sort of. Elysium, that DLC that many in the community believe to be a third hidden location that may come at some point in the future. And there isn't really much information out there regarding this place. You will hear NPCs in the open world talking about it, you'll see maps in the metro stations and also in other various locations. And now when it comes to Bloody Ties, you can actually go there and visit it by, of course, glitching yourself out of the map. So by glitching yourself out of the Carnage Hall, you can fly your way over here and you can see what is either left of Elysium or what is to come for it. Now it's really obvious, this area is completely unfinished, but for an area like this, they put a good amount of depth into it. Walkable spaces, NPCs walking around, infected encounters, and plenty more. Is this a hint of what's to come? Have we finally found Elysium? Or am I just on a whole new level of copium and I want you to join in? But before we do proceed, if you're anything like me, you need to have some sort of emotional attachment to someone or something in order to find your happiness. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. DeVito has made a return. He's here to stay alongside his new friend, Recetas. But what's really funny is if I don't want this man right here, I can take him off my wall. So if I want to go ahead and put a nice Dying Light 2 Displate up, I can do that. All of this is possible through Displate, which is today's sponsor. Displate has over 1 million designs available, offers up branded content such as Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and even Dying Light 2. Every single product is a high quality print on metal, and it's also very easy to mount. Take a magnet, stick protective leaf, peel off the one side, and bam, you can now hang up your poster. Best part is, you can swap it out at any given moment. And by using my link down below and discount code, you can get 20% off on 1 to 2 Displates, and then 30% off if you buy 3+. Honestly, these Displates really allow you to express yourself in unique ways that isn't your traditional paper or canvas posters. I've been throwing these up all over the place in my condo. I am very much a nerd, so I got a Spider-Man one, Dying Light 2, and also this awesome Ronin one too. What's also great is that for every Displate sold, they plant a tree. But if none of those options fit you, that's okay. Like we said earlier, Displate has over 1 million designs that you can choose from. All of their options are officially licensed, so you know that they're high quality products. I highly recommend Displate. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. Go ahead, check out Displate, use the link down below in the description, and let's swap this guy out real quick, and let's put our man back up there, okay? he's here to stay. Let's get back to the video now. In the beginning of the month, Dying Light 2 got update 1.7. Inside of this update included a massive amount of changes and improvements to day-to-day activities. Bug fixes including fixing co-op issues, characters that were once glitching out at some point, it's now resolved too. They also fixed other various game-breaking bugs as well. And friends, included in this update were 4 new major features. 1. An X-ray system. 2. Darker nights. 3. Changes to the UI. And number 4. New weapon animations. Now, let's go ahead and begin with the X-ray, because honestly, that's f***ing chef's kiss, okay? The X-ray system that we all know and love from the original Dying Light is finally back, and it's currently in its experimental first phase and will be getting numerous updates in the future. Right now, it works very well for blunt weapons. Every hit now just feels so much more satisfying. Call me a psychopath, but I thoroughly enjoy this. Combat overall got a major improvement when this little teeny tiny feature was added in. Of course, it works for your fists as well. Step into the rink and let's get punching. These two bad boys got a whole lot more enjoyable. Run away, punch, watch bones breaks, hear the sounds of the bones cracking. I can now experience what life was like for my bully in elementary school. It's funny, even after hours of playing this update, this never gets old. It never fails to not be satisfying, and it was even like this in the original Dying Light. Smashing bones, watching them crack. I can really experience what a family's life is like for a football player. What I found particularly interesting is that this update included many requests from the community. So when Community Update 2 comes out, I imagine it's going to be bigger and better than the previous one. Because one major request that they made in here was making nighttimes darker. Darker nights actually exist now. And this was actually a request that myself and your favorite content creators had and presented to Timon when we were in Poland. We found and said that the nights are simply just not scary enough. They aren't dark enough, and it just fails to capture the essence of what made nighttime so terrifying and horrifying in the original. In the original, I still remember my first ever encounter with the volatile, and 13-year-old me was shitting his pants. Horror was at its finest here, and I really hope Techland slowly makes Dying Light 2 more like this.
Oh, look, it's a picture I took of you the first time I ever came here. Ah, look at you, so young and happy. Where do the years go?
This lighting change of making it overall a lot more darker speaks many lengths. It may not seem like a major change at first glance, but there is definitely a difference.
Now that's quality content. That's the kind of stuff that I can really appreciate.
Next, we had some major improvements to the UI, and the team that worked on this, they definitely deserve some praise here. They cleaned up a lot of areas that weren't working and overall made it more user-friendly. So, let me wipe my hand. High five to you, Techland. One of the biggest changes is that they now have an outfit preview, so before you commit to anything, you can see what it's going to look like for Aiden. Definitely a major quality of life improvement for this, and I really hope they expand it to the mask. And honestly, the discussion of outfits and cosmetics kind of leads me to a list of requests of sorts. These are requests that I personally think need to make its way into Dying Light 2 at some point. It doesn't need to be immediate. However, I do think the sooner the better for the player. Some of these changes would really benefit them. Now, I know I may sound like a broken record, but I mention this every time I can. A transmog system is very important. I think on the inventory screen, we should have options to customize our look. I think the outfits should be broken up into individual components so that if you want to mix and match different pieces, you have the option to do so. By adding a transmog system, it opens the door for hugest amounts of customization. A system like this kinda technically exists because you can toggle your outfit on and off. Techland just needs to go ahead and expand on that and blow that up. But now this does lead me to my second point. With the introduction of bloody ties, it added in a crazy amount of outfits and masks. However, these cosmetics go right into your inventory and right into your stash, which honestly, that's expected, but there's an issue with that. While I think the addition of all this cosmetic content is awesome, it's amazing, it's probably one of the best parts about Bloody Ties, it's completely disorganized.
The main problem area is up here. All of this going on up here is what's causing me the most physical discomfort. It's like a visceral reaction of discontent coming from this area. This area is not good either. I hate this. I'm mainly worried about this.
I think one of the next major steps Dying Light 2 needs to focus on is overhauling the stash and making it more user-friendly. It definitely, 100% needs a stash increase. But to have everything currently broken down into all weapons, accessories, and consumables, it doesn't work well with all the new content that was just added into it. The more sections that Techland adds it in will allow for the player to break it down a little bit more. You could add maybe an outfit section here or a mask section here. It would really benefit the community. It would very much make them happy. And speaking of making them happy, let's move on to the next section, weapon animations. So when I went to Poland and sat down with Timon, he told us that every update they're trying to push out new weapon animation. They notice how much the community loves when this occurs, so they want to make it more frequent. Community response was ecstatic when they first made changes to the katana. In this update, it probably gave us some of the best weapon animations to date. And now, once again, they have added in new animations for the axe. So as you slice and chop up your zombie foes, you can see it in action now. It's a major plus that something like this is coming, and I really hope they continue doing so. But now, let's roll into our section about Bloody Ties. We of course made a 20+ minute video on my full thoughts, unfiltered opinions on this DLC, and now it's been almost a month, so how are things looking currently? I still do believe that the DLC was a good deal for $10. It held me over for a good amount of time. There are issues with it, and I outlined them so that Techland could learn and know exactly how to prevent it when it comes to DLC 2, which DLC 2 may be coming sooner rather than later, based on the leaks that we talked about earlier. My biggest issues with Bloody Ties was a weak story, uncompelling characters, and a disaster launch. The launch is definitely something that should never happen again. They cannot be releasing the content into a state where no one can play it. That literally just makes your content meaningless. It's really a bad look if no one can go ahead and start the content that you've been working on for months. And honestly, it'll be a slap to the cock, Danny, if it happens again for DLC 2, which from the looks of it, it seems to be a much bigger and more ambitious expansion than Bloody Ties. So when it's time for that DLC to come out, many players will be interested in returning and seeing if it lives up to expectations. So please make a count. Additionally, I talked very briefly about this in my previous video, but people want a DLC with a focus on the infected.
Cherry? Another cherry?
And I'm very much one of those people. I'm kind of getting sick of the same mediocre stories on humans and the focus on combat against human AI. Try out an infected story. Go wild with it. If you think your idea is too crazy or people aren't going to like with it, fuck it. Just experiment with it. See how it goes. I feel like creatively speaking, this will allow Techland to really get their minds going. We need them to lean into the lore, lean into the foundation that the original Dying Light set up and take advantage of it. It just feels like they're moving away from what made Dying Light so special in the first place. But there is one more thing I want to mention when it comes to Bloody Ties. Now we, as the community, we talked about Bloody Ties. We talked about our thoughts, our opinions, and all that jazz. But now I want to hear the opinions of someone outside of the community. What are their thoughts? What are their beliefs? So this month I invited RoboKast onto the channel so we can hear his thoughts. Take it away.
So when it comes to Bloody Ties, I have a mixed opinion of it, but it really depends on what section you look at. So starting with the story, I thought the story was pretty good actually. A lot of people hated on it, but especially towards the end, I was pretty invested. You know, maybe not entirely on the edge of my seat, but I definitely scooted forwards at least a millimeter or so. Shiro sucks, Ogar's cool, and some of the other characters are kind of forgettable, but overall the narrative was pretty decent. When it comes to the events in the arena itself, the only ones of those that I actually enjoyed doing were the parkour ones. Other than that, with like the boss fights and the Carnage events, I kind of just tried to rush through them to progress through the story. The world of Carnage Hall itself is really solid. I think this section of the map is good, and they introduced it pretty much seamlessly to the rest of the map. And the cosmetics and new weapons that are added in this DLC are pretty damn good, and I think they kind of make up for some of the flaws with the other parts of it. All in all, sure, for the right person it could be worth $10, but for the more general population, I'd say wait till it goes on sale for $5.99 to $7.99. At that point, it's definitely worth it.
But friends, that is everything that I have for you guys today. This review, a little bit on the shorter side compared to some of my more recent monthly reviews. To be honest, the Bloody Ties is kind of like a part 1, and this video is like a part 2. So if you watch those back to back, shit, that might be like a 50-minute video. But what do you think about Dying Light 2? Where are you at? Are you happy with the current state of it? Or are you dissatisfied? Let me know down below. And with all that said, see you later. Bye-bye.